Sonia, thank you so much for joining me today on the Member Spotlight for Owners Club.
Hi, Young. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me. I want to just jump right into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your business does?
Hi, yeah, my name is Sonia-Lynn Abonejar. I am the one of the owners and founders of La Union Studio. We're a architecture and interior design studio based out of Seattle, Washington. We focus on commercial and residential spaces and trying to weave in culture and history into all the projects that we do.
I love it. I love it. And I know you have a really great slogan on your website that I absolutely love. It's like where design meets culture, or is it culture meets
Yep,
design? What is it?
we're design meets culture.
So good, so good. I feel like it's a really good embodiment and phrasing of who you guys are, and just having been able to work with you guys and watch you guys progress your business over the last year plus now, I think it's been
Hmm.
really fun to see how you marry those two things together so well, and just the clients that you work with and the background that you bring into it. So I'm really excited to share with everybody more about your business, but before we get into that, let's talk about your background. How did you get started in this industry?
Right. So I never thought of entrepreneurship as a route that I would take. I kind of did the whole undergrad, the grad school, and then I got a 9 to 5. So I did my undergrad in architecture and community design, and a master's from Berkeley in urban planning, city planning. So um, I was working in the public sector almost 8 7 8 years, and then kind of just decided, that was not for me. I was a project manager. I worked on great projects, but it wasn't as enriching as I thought it was going to be. And so I decided with my partner Sergio that, why not take a chance and start an architecture practice, just based on, an a understanding that there was a need for these types of services in our community. Friends and family who were opening up their first brick and mortars for their restaurants or their different businesses, or remodeling their house. And, we were the first people that they thought of to help them with their project because they didn't know where to start. And so that was kind of the start of La Union Studio. And, just taking it from there, we've been around for over 5 years now, and we're, just growing and taking on really exciting projects.
So, your original origin story had nothing to do with being an entrepreneur or business owner. It was the
Not at
safe
all.
route. Oh, so
Yep.
amazing. I love it. I love it.
Yep.
And you said that you got started by basically getting asked from friends and family to help with projects. Is
Hmm.
that because they knew that you guys had experience in it? So is it like, oh, you're a carpenter? Can you help me answer my questions about my desk that's fallen apart? Or is it like,
Right.
hey, oh yeah, you do taxes? Can you like help me? Like, is it like that kind of start, or how did that
I,
happen?
yeah, I think it was more of just the lack of understanding from our family and our community about what the architecture process is, how to
Mm.
engage an architect. They knew that they needed some type of technical support to get through permitting or to get through, just a set of drawings that a builder could use to build their project. And, when we work with our clients and take on projects, it's really the hand holding from the very beginning of the project to the end. When we can deliver the space and it's, you know, all of their visions come true, hopefully. But yeah, it was just based off the need of our families and our communities not knowing any architects in their
Oh wow.
networks, and, knowing that we're experts at something that they have no idea about.
Yeah, and so was it too small of a project or too different of a project to bring into the workplaces that you guys were at, and that's why you guys started branching off and kind of doing it like on the side, and then
Yeah, I mean, I was working in the public sector, so in environmental planning, in wastewater treatment. So I was,
yeah.
doing big projects with sewer upgrades and treatment plant upgrades and things like that. And Sergio was working at an architecture firm that they were mostly doing cultural facilities and, multifamily. affordable housing development. So it was definitely not within those two realms of types of projects. So we figured we could take it on ourselves and project manage them, just really help our clients navigate that full process.
So in the beginning, it sounds like the business was started very in a wholesome manner. It almost sounds like it started because there were a certain community of people that didn't have access to the technical skills and they didn't even
Hmm.
know, for lack
Yeah,
of better words, where to even start. And they just knew that
exactly.
you guys were in the general industry
Right.
space and you
Yeah,
started to get your first set
exactly.
of clients almost as like a helping side project.
Hmm.
Um, and so, I mean, technically you did start a business to do that, but when did you guys decide to make the full jump to actually starting La Union?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely we were crawling before we could walk, obviously. I mean, we were taking on family projects, remodels, and then, the businesses were opening and people were loving the design. So we were like, we're good at this. Like, this is actually kind of easy for the most part. Like, we understand the processes. Like, why not just see where this, side hustle could take us? So, we were learning a lot of things in our daytime jobs that we took as we entered the entrepreneurship and starting La Union Studio. So it was kind of a slow transition. I mean, Sergio went full time in La Union first, and then I went full time just last year. So, we were playing that game of like, ready, like, when should we jump in? And I think we're fully in right now, and it feels really good.
That's amazing. And then what was the trigger for Sergio to jump full time, and then what was the trigger for you to jump full time?
I think he had more faith than I did. I think that tells our
It's so
personalities.
scary. It's so scary. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was right before COVID, so he jumped into La Union Studio like 2019, the summer of 2019, and then next year COVID hit. And so I was lucky enough to still have my full-time job. We were considered essential workers, for public health and sanitation. So,
Yeah.
we had that safety net, which was, really, really nice during those 3 years.
Yeah, and also having a diversified relationship or diversified portfolio is super,
Hmm.
super, super good way to hedge your bets when someone wants to start a business. You know, have a
Right.
partner, both business, because Sergio is not only your business partner, he's actually
Hmm.
your personal partner as well. And so
Right.
I've seen a lot of these duos where they'll diversify their risk by having
Hmm.
one person be the entrepreneur and one person be the safer
Right.
bet,
Yeah.
right? And so you can diversify your risk by doing it that way. But when did you decide to make the jump? Because it sounds like Sergio had a lot more faith in it and he was excited about it. But you came along a year and a half later. Is that what you said?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, almost 2 years later. I mean, I was always mentally trying to get myself there. I think I
Yeah,
was just caught up in the what ifs and, I'm a little
totally.
bit more risk adverse, but it worked out. I think the timing was perfect. My trigger was just, I was working remotely for almost 3 years, permanently remote. And so that was just kind of taking its toll on me. The types of projects weren't as fulfilling. I was working on a master plan for the sewer system that was like 30 years out. So those projects weren't as real to me as some of the stuff we were working on with our clients. And so, I just kind of let all inhibitions go and just trusted my gut and said, the timing's right, the financials looked right. I think, we were planning it for a while, so that helped out, and then we started working with you, Young, um, and just, put all the flag posts were green to make the leap.
Yeah, I love this story, and I love that you're sharing these stories and being so transparent and vulnerable about it. Because as much as you say I'm risk adverse, and you kind of say it tongue in cheek, it's like so common, right? Like you
Yeah.
got a master's in at Berkeley for crying out loud. Like you're highly educated,
Yeah.
you're heavily invested in the normal societal
Right.
qualifications of success, and for you to unwind that and quite literally throw it away to go start your own small business is probably a huge leap of faith in a lot of ways, not just professionally, but fiscally and personally. And so I think it's a really inspiring story to hear your trajectory into this because I came into this and met you guys at a point where it didn't have um, this kind of layers or complexity. I had no
Hmm.
idea. I'm like, what do you mean? Like everything makes
You're like,
sense.
just
Like
quit.
I'm like, just
Yeah,
quit. All the financials make sense. Like, what do you do? You're actually holding the business back. And I was like almost frustrated with you. And to hear this side of the story is so fun for me. And just realizing what a shock that must have been to meet me and just like me be like, what are you doing? And then like hearing all this backstory about like why it took you so long to make that jump. And then really thinking about like all the different people out there considering it's turning their side hustle into their full time or taking that leap of faith. It's not an easy jump. It's not an easy
hmm.
jump because you've invested your entire life into this safe ecosystem,
Right, right.
and you're quite literally like chopping it off, and you're doing this that's completely unknown, and that's got to be very, very wild and unnerving. So I'm so glad we're on the other side of this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think I'm like a different person than I was this time last year. I
yeah,
mean, I was just like nervous and excited at the same time, but this year I feel a lot more grounded and confident in what we're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You mean being a business owner, or you mean
Yeah,
just in general?
being a business owner, kind of having my 2 feet in the business versus 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Um, Having the time to work on our business, having the creative time to work on projects, feeling committed and connected to our clients and the partnerships that we're building. So, um, and having my time back, that was a big thing too.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got a lot of the things checked off as you made this leap of faith, and on
Hmm.
the other side, you're accumulating a lot more of the things that you wanted, where you weren't able to achieve those things. Although it's safe, you were sacrificing a
Hmm.
lot of the other things for safety.
Exactly.
You're like the poster child for entrepreneurship. I love it, and I'm hoping you inspire hundreds and thousands of other people to take the
I
leap
hope so
and yeah,
too.
and start a small business because I can tell you right now, it's the time. It's the time to do it for sure.
Yeah.
Let's jump into another question. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges that you faced when you were first going in and growing your business, and how did you overcome them?
Ooh, challenges. Um, I mean, when I don't really think of them as challenges, I think of them as like fun, hard problems to solve. I
Yeah,
mean, jumping into La Union, like we did it because it was fun and it was challenging. And so I think the hard stuff is like, making sure that we always have projects coming in. And so thinking about how our marketing aligns with the people that we're trying to reach and how that leads to you getting these people into the door, and building those relationships with them, I think is probably the most challenging part for me. Um, just because I never considered myself like a salesperson or a
yeah,
marketing person
yeah,
who are like trying to sell a service to somebody.
yeah,
But now I see it. I see that it's necessary to run a business because I think before I was so focused on like really good design and really good aesthetic and just making our clients, happy and proud of the projects that we work on. But there's a whole other side of the coin that you have to keep running as the projects are running. And so I think the context switching is probably the hardest right now.
yeah. And what are you doing to overcome it?
Ooh, I'm super fortunate to have Sergio support because I know a lot of entrepreneurs just have themselves. And so we are trying to do better at, delegating and working on things that we're really good at. So I focus on a lot of the financials and kind of the project design and aesthetic. And then Sergio works on the marketing and content creation. And then just trying to find times to meet regularly and keep projects moving, while also living our lives and being married and trying to not think about work. So it's just kind of chaotic, but I think we have systems and processes, and indicators and dashboards that keep us kind of focused in on what's priority at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And that's like very, very typical of any job, really, but it's explosive
Hmm.
when you think about business ownership because what you're talking about is like the typical business owner, this is like the standard, right? You're really good at making mac and cheese, and so everyone keeps telling you should start a mac and cheese shop. You should start a mac and cheese shop, you know. And then like after 15 years of people telling you how good your mac and cheese is, you're like, maybe I should start a mac and cheese shop. And then you start a mac and cheese shop, and then you like end up being pretty successful at it, and you end up spending so much of your time not making mac and cheese because you're like, wait, I have to like do bookkeeping, I have to do like sales, I have
Right.
to do I have to do what? Like it's just like has nothing to do with making mac and cheese. And I don't know where the mac and cheese example came in, but I was just kind of relating it back to what you were saying, and it's so funny to hear you talk about it because this is quite literally like the bane of most business
Mhm,
ownership is that
mhm.
like you start it because you love something, and then you get into it, you end up not getting to do that thing because there's so much stuff that you're not good at that you have to do now, and figuring out how much of what to do and how to level up those
Mhm.
skills and delegate it is like all these new components to running a business. And so I love to hear this story, and it's a really great story to share. And I think that it's really awesome that you're going through this. You're like the perfect example of how to start a business.
I hope so. I mean, I hear people like on the edge how I was just the other year, and it's easy for me to say to just jump, but I'm
Is
like,
it?
it takes some finessing and, just like mental coaching
Yeah.
to get there. And so I try not to push them too hard, but
That's awesome. But on the other side, you do realize if you could talk back to yourself, would you change your mind? Would you go back?
oh no, never,
Never, right?
never,
Okay.
never, never,
Yeah.
never.
All right, that's awesome. Let me ask you a little bit about Owners
Yeah.
Club. So, how has been being a member of Owners Club helped you in your business?
Yeah, Owners Club has been great. I think, as we're on this entrepreneurship journey, we've also noticed like just the loneliness that happens when you're working for yourselves, working for your business. You don't really have coworkers, you don't have, exposure to an office space or just that community environment. So I think it really just plugs you into seeing what other entrepreneurs do on a day to day and the different projects that they're working on, which are so different than ours. But um, the frameworks that ownership provides around the dashboards and just making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as an entrepreneur um, are available. That's just really helpful to us knowing that there's just this community of people doing the same thing and just trying to make an impact with the different services and products that they provide.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love having you in the group in the club because I feel like you and Serge are so good at like maximizing the value of like that networking. But it's
Hmm.
like so funny because different people want different things out of a community,
Right.
right? And I think for you
Hmm.
guys, it's really you guys want perspective. And it's really, really cool to see you guys like latch on to the fact that like, oh, there's other owners like me out there in different industries, but they're just other owners, and it's like that connection and then that perspective. I feel like you guys really latch onto, and it's so powerful because it is by far such a lonely journey, and it's hard to explain to people that don't own a business like how
Hmm.
lonely it is because it's hard to explain the pressures of performing to people that don't own a business, and then it's also hard to explain the successes,
Yep.
especially
Hmm.
monumental ones to people that don't own a business without like feeling awkward or arrogant, you know. And so
Right.
there's just a lot of like loneliness that comes from it, and it's so fascinating that you hit it right on the head. And I mean, it's honestly one of the main reasons why I started it because I just wanted more
Hmm.
friends. I wanted more owner friends. So I'm really glad that you pinpointed those two value props. What advice would you give to other business owners looking to make the most out of Owners Club?
I would say, just engage. You get what you put in. And I think just the value of also having that mindset of responding to the prompts and prioritizing your own time with what you're responding to the prompts with, because it's really focused on getting you to just change your mindset about what you can get done as a business owner. I think what troubles me most of the time is the long list of things we have to do on a day to day to move our projects along and to move business ops along. But I think just engaging with the owners club and just checking the box that I got those things that I said I was going to get done in the prompts, it just helps reframe my thinking around, okay, what's really important this week.
That's awesome. I love that. And I will say that you are really, really good at using the system, the owner's manual system. We joke about it internally all the time that you should leave La Union and you should leave La Union and join us and just be a business coach with us because you understand the system and framework so well, and it's so fun to work with you because you have such an operational mind. And it's so funny to me that you were hesitating to be a business owner because you're a natural. You're so good at it, and you're going to be wildly successful because you have such an organized and disciplined mind. You're very, very rigorous, and yeah, I think that the biggest issue is going to be like just figuring out how to like balance everything, right? And constantly balancing these things because I feel like you're also super creative and it's fun to watch a business like yours thrive and succeed because it's such a creative business. It's such a creative business, and it's like the antithesis of an operator's mindset, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're constantly creating, and it's kind of fun to watch you do that. Watch you balance, feeding your need to be creative and your personal releases, but also like staying rigorous to a business plan.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. That's exactly what's happening.
Is it what's happening right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just like the balance that needs to happen, the expansion of the business,
Yeah.
as far as like letting the team members, different team members, kind of closer into the projects. Yeah, maintaining my own life and sanity. Um,
Yeah.
well, and just trying to get the projects that we want. I think, trying to get the business to the next level is our goal for the next year.
Yeah, and it's really really interesting content and topic to talk about because I think a lot of business owners don't realize that success begets more problems. And like if I talked to you a year ago and you looked at
Right.
yourself today, you'd be like, I'm highly successful.
Right.
And you would have told yourself that a year ago. And I think your barometer of success has now changed now that you have this huge team of people working for
Yeah.
you and you're growing this business
It
and you have
really,
all these different moving pieces, right? And like success begets more problems
yeah.
for sure. But go
What,
ahead.
yeah, what helps me get through the days and the weeks is just knowing that everything is new and there's never anything that I don't have the answer to or can't figure it out. I
That's
think
right.
the challenge of entrepreneurship is just the unknown, like you said, and I find solace in, you know, the the fact that we'll figure it out. Not business is not a one track mindset or even just journey. It zigs and zags, and I think that's what's fun and what I enjoy is just the diversity of experience that come with it, even if the really highs and the really lows.
And I will say this just because I have context because I've been coaching you guys for a little over a year now, but you guys are insanely amazing. You guys are
Thanks.
incredibly good entrepreneurs. But if I had to ask and
Uh-huh.
choose one major thing that you're super proud of, what would you say
Ooh.
what would you say the one thing is that you're the most proud of accomplishing over the last maybe year and a half of your entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, I mean, one is just taking the full dive into the business. I have a few, if I
Yeah,
may
go for it.
say.
Yeah, go for it.
Um, Two is getting our commercial space that will come online later this fall, and just all of the things that we've put in place the last, 5 to 8 years, and just the relationships that we've built since then have all come to kind of a pinnacle with the opportunity that has been put in front of us and being able to own and operate out of our new commercial space and design it and build it out with great financial support is something that I wouldn't have even thought was an option last year. It just literally fell into our laps, but there's reason behind all of it. So just understanding that is a huge milestone, today.
Yeah, getting a commercial space is huge. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, what walk of life you're talking about. Getting to own land in general is a big deal, but getting to own a commercial spot is huge. And so that is a huge accomplishment. I completely agree. What else? You said you had a few things, a few
Oh, I
more.
had another
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Well, personally, I went to aesthetic school during COVID because I needed more. I needed more, with stimulation and to learn other things that I was interested about. So, launching our second business, Emblem Skincare, along with opening up the commercial space is also a huge milestone. And I know I'm just kind of like scratching the tip of the iceberg with that business, but we feel really good about it and excited, um, and passionate. There's a lot of whys behind why we started the business. So,
Right.
um, there's just a lot of excitement around all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I feel like I know you guys so well, and it's like so funny. But for me, the biggest accomplishment that I'm proud of for you guys is building out your partner network. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah,
makes me so
that's a,
proud and so happy to see you guys build that out and do that because I know it's causing you a lot of headache and like questions and like what do I do with this
right.
and how do I expand this, and it's creating like the doom and gloom of like covering cost and keeping people engaged, and anything that has to do with hiring people sucks.
Yeah.
But I will say that this too shall be something that you overcome and you master, and it will be the lightning rod that you need to, drive to these new heights and abilities. And
Hmm.
it's gonna
Hmm.
suck temporarily, but it's a short-term investment into your development to like master a bigger plate, master a bigger plate, but to like capture a bigger
Yeah,
plate of, of food and not that you have to, but having it
true.
will give you the ability to say you want it or not, and you can go do that.
Right,
And so for
right.
me, as an inane as it seems, I think that you building that out has been the biggest thing that I'm most proud of because
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
it
I
sets you
forgot about
up. It
that.
sets you up for long-term success, like more than you realize. It's a 10x multiplier.
Nice. That's good to
Yeah, yeah,
hear.
yeah.
No, I agree. And I think we're in it's been what, 6 months in to growing that network. And I still think we're going through the growing pains of like really hammering out the systems and just the expectations and trying to be good leaders. I think that's the hardest part, in addition to business ops and getting projects and all that stuff. But like you said, managing people and keeping them engaged and that's all new to us, and that's why we have your help, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you guys have all the ingredients for sure. I think you guys just needed a process and
Yeah.
some structure. But like you said, you guys have been percolating. You guys have been baking all this stuff together for years and years and years. And I just think all we did was come in and just kind of organize it for you. But you had all the right stuff and you knew what to do. You just didn't know how to do it, how to mix it all together.
Yes.
And I think that's what's really fun about working with you guys, that you guys have so much potential, and it's super fun and enjoyable to be part of the process. And yeah, I just wanted to share
Thank you.
my
No, we
little two
appreciate
cents of
that
your
feedback.
accomplishment as well, because I'm like really excited about 5 years from now when you guys have this partner network and you guys start hiring, for your firm, and
Hmm.
I could see where this is all going to go. And for me, I can like watch and I can already see it, and so it's very
I need to
exciting in the
visualize
future.
that too. I'm slowly getting further and further out.
Yeah. So very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me on this member spotlight. I'm really excited to showcase you and your story to the community as well as the world. And thank you so much for being part of Owners Club and such an awesome member. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you inside the club, and we'll continue to keep growing.
Thank you, Young.